Nabagamba, we now got the leave of Parliament. Gloria, how are you? Nange mbamatiranyo. Of course, there are not many. There are only some deluded guys using fake names. But of course, here, whatever in our watch for, they can go to their pages. We shall do to them what we want to do. And most of them are their leaders in fake accounts. So don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. First of all, this was the motion that was passed, and I can assure you the law is coming. The law is coming. Like I told you the other week, when I was in Parliament, there are three things that I did. One, ekyasooka kye nasooka okukola was the issue of fuel. And now I can assure you that from what I've heard, Prime Minister awandiikidde fuel stations zonna n'azitegeeza nti ekisooka ziteekwa okuzaayo bwempulira era ndowooza bajja kireeta ku floor ya Parliament, that the fuel prices must go down, and I would like to say that is a step in the right direction. Ekyokubiri mu second victory gye tufunye olwaleero mu wiiki eno, we talked about the issue of torture of my friend Kakwenza. Kakwenza, when Nalina Akaitam, is one of the people who really congratulated me. And whenever I was in court, this guy, this young man stood by me. He's not a young man, but this young lawyer always stood by me, and I decided I'll also stand by him. So I can always tell you that without any doubt, I will defend his freedom and liberty. That one I will do. At least in Ayachimanyi, and when all people were quiet for us, we stood and said, no, this is wrong. But he's not the only victim of torture. There are actually very, very many people that have been victims of torture, psychologically and physically. And we do not condone that. And we've spoken against that in the August House. Now, the issue on table today, ye issue je nabagambye, amendment ya Computer Misuse Act. One, we've amended it. We are going to amend it. We've sent the draft. We've sent the draft out, and those who bother to follow will understand. The biggest problem is we have a society that is ignorant. Abantu abamu tayina na kyamanyi tayina na kyagoberera. Waliwo yali ambuziza nti wali oyogeddeko ku torture ninga bambi tunuulira omwana ono tamanyi nti Parliament yatula the other week eyaleeta ensonga ya defense of the tortured victims yalinze mu response eya minister gye yaleeta, but tobafaako. Why? The reason is that one thing. First of all, abasinga bajja banywedde enjaga nga tebategeera emitwe gyabwe abasinga giba tegikola, most of them. Abalala bakozesebwa bukozesebwa because it's the only way they are meant to understand. But for those of you people who care to understand, just know that we have a great law in the offing. The law protects you as an individual, but it also protects everyone in society. Ngenda dibagira ku ntobo so that most people understand. Ekisooka, etteeka lino litandika ne clause esooka mu draft. Ngenda gibasomesa so that mulimanya. Waliwo eyagambye buba tujja mu social media ati n'otunuulira omuntu yenna n'olaba nti bambi ono ye tategeera, bamugambye bugambi tategeera, and such people don't even deserve to be anywhere. Okitegeera kakati Computer Misuse Act, waliwo atategeera na kigambo computer. What is defined to be a computer? Any gadget gy'okozesa for the following purposes, either to broadcast, and it could be in form of a monitor, oba ne peni yennyini ng'eriko recording devices. that is about cyber and computer. So omuntu yenna awulira nti eno bill emunyiziza sooka owulirize, first listen. Then when you listen, you'll understand more. Kyovola abantu waliwo n'abamu ignorant rasitike naga nti no nze nkikola. You're committing a crime. Only that until you're caught, that is when you'll understand that kinyiga weka. I remember nagendako ku defending omuntu omu mu court. Ne muga nti naye bwe muba mukola ebintu bino muba mutegeera oba muba muwunze. Nangamba mukama wange omanyi tuba enamba zitulimba. Enamba zino bwe zitulimba ne zikwogeza ebintu. Enamba zikulimba naye mukaguli obeerayo bwomu. Now, let me go to the principle. One, the first thing is we are going to make a substitution. I propose of substituting a section 12 of the Principal Act okuteekamu unauthorized access. Kati mulimu omuntu omu nga tamanyina kumanya what is unauthorized access. Yalowooza social media, computer social media, computer social media. No. That is why the biggest problem is muwerera abaana. Most of the children, most of the people outside there, omuddugavu yenna tasobola kusooka kutegeera kufumiitiriza apapa bupapi bu. Unauthorized access. Any person who without authority hacks a device of another commits an offense. Omuntu yenna singa addira essimu ye n'akuloninga mu ssimu yo, mwabamu muyina kye mutamanyi nti someone can merge your WhatsApps or your conversations n'ezize, n'akwata ebintu by'okozesa n'abiteeka ku desktop ye mu ssimu eno, nti n'ogenda ewali WhatsApp n'okwata essimu ya munno n'okwata barcode yayo n'omaginga conversations ng'oli by'atayipinga naawe wano ku ssimu yo bijja. And that is one system of hacking. Two, waliwo kye batayita adulteration of the IP address. Nsobola oba omuntu asobola okukwata address yo ey'essimu n'ebigikwatako n'abyadulterating ne bibypassing essimu yo nga bisooka kgenda ku device ye. Naye olw'okuba abantu baffe balina limited knowledge mu technology, owulidde, kakati bo balowooza nti bategeera nnyo. The biggest problem we have is those that don't know pretending to know when they actually don't know. Their leaders know nothing, they are empty. Ate n'abagoberezi baabwe they are equally empty, ne bagoberera bugoberezi. Kakati oli tamanyi nti waliwo kye bayita cloning of IP addresses ng'oli asobola okukola bypass mu social media conversations zo oba mu conversations ze za emails, because computer does not necessarily mean social media. Era nawulidde ne muganda wange munaye nga munaye sijja kusaasi sijja kale kugira nnyo naye gwe ku ssimu y'omanyiiko ki? Nagamba manyiiko WhatsApp na mobile money. Ne ngamba oh yes, kati ono bambi okutegeera kuwe kukoma nti bw'asiga mpeerezaayo ku ssente WhatsApp ne mobile money ng'olwo bimulese. N'olwekyo ekisooka intercepting any conversation of a person without their authority, without authority, either nga be bagikuwadde oba nga kooti yekwethorizinze. Waliwo wanagaye nti you have never practiced law. Yeah, joka uba webale nnyo era nkusanyukidde nnyo. I've never practiced law because that is what your boss tells you. Naye at least neyalabaku recently makoti agabaddewo, at least I was there practicing law, but I don't have to justify to you kubanga abamu temutegeera butegeezi. Okay, kakati bwe tukomawo njagala okubayitiramu what we call interception. Omuntu yenna singa acloninga conversation ku simu yo oba na intercepting a conversation yo either through email oba through social media texting, chetwandise texting or sharing visuals, aba committing offense. Therefore, omuntu ono bwaweereza ebintu byo oba n'abisharinga oba n'okisanga nti abadde akikola a committing offense. These offenses normally happen ku bantu abali mu either business relationships oba private marriage relationships. I would like to tell you it is illegal. Even those that aid and abet, omuntu wabajja n'akugamba nti nyambaako kinkolere aba akoze bwana Namatovu funa gyogenda mugende ewammwe gye muwungira Namatovu Aisha mugende muwungire ewammwe nga bwe mutegeera. So abantu abakola ekintu ekyo baba ba committing an offense. Era mu tteeka lino bajja kuba basobola okonvictingibwa nga basasula ssente ezitasukka miliyoni 3 eza Uganda oba okusibibwa emyaka egitasukka 10 oba byombi. The people convicted of this offense of intercepting conversations, recordings, voices, videos of other persons, share any photo and information that relates to those people, commit an offense. And any person who does these alterations is liable to a conviction not exceeding 150,000 currency points, and that is, don't worry about them. Let them first listen. We will get them. When they are crying, you'll know them. So, is liable to payment of maximum 300 million shillings as a Uganda shillings, and imprisonment not exceeding 10 years. So, those that are using any technology to try and hack others commit an offense. And some of these offenses may be equated to espionage. Now that is one. 2, any person who shares images of another person without their authority with the purposes of ridiculing them, degrading them, dehumanizing them, to malice them, commits an offense, and also the fine is the same, and the imprisonment does not exceed 10 years. So, when we are legislating, ebeera ku maximum. Therefore, bw'onaaba ogenda kukola ekintu kino, you'll think twice before you think about the 10-year. Yeah. Nyina gwe nabuuziza, waliwo mukwano gwange yankubidde nanga Haji weebale nnyo. Wano abaana abaali ababbi bajja Dubai naye tebabba. Nangamba nti Haji omanyi lwaki wano tebabba? Kuba bakimanyi nti bakutemako omukono. E Saudi Arabia abaana abaali ababbi b'obutaala bw'emmotoka e Kampala bagendayo naye tebabba. Nti lwaki? Kubanga bakimanyi nti bakutemako omukono. Therefore, waliwo ngambye nti ng'etteeka kakali kwoyo akola ebyambyone, lyangu kwoyo agenda okweyisa obulungi. Section endala. Any person, and on this I want to warn people, don't take it lightly. Any person who is not authorized to share pictures of minors who are children, and children are people who are below the age of 18, or carry their messages, or discuss them without the authority of their parents, And this one can only be done in schools. Outside school, you're not allowed to discuss, share a picture of a child of another. In all common law countries where I've seen this, it's equated to child abuse, and the law a harsh punishment. The punishment in this goes to about 20 years imprisonment. And payment, we also left it at 300 million. Therefore, should you transmit any message, broadcast, make any utterances about any child who is a minor without the authority of their parent, you'll be charged and or convicted of the offense that includes abuse of children, cyber abuse of children who are or of minors, and for sure, you had better listen to this one. In some states in the US, it's punishable with over 25 years imprisonment, in Uganda as well. Therefore, should you have any misunderstandings with someone, whether out of business or out of family, do not, and I repeat, do not be tempted to play around with the privacy of the children. I would like to warn you, this is a big offense in the entire world. Any person who without authority shares, demeans, degrades, ridicules a minor who is not able to defend themselves commits an offense. In most countries, the punishment is beyond 25 years. Whether it's cyber harassment of children or cyber stalking of children. You send a child an unsolicited message, you do anything relating to a child, it will be grave, and I can assure you, if you think it's a laughing matter, you might end up not laughing. So I can hear some of their people and their sponsors trying to tell them, go out there and shout at the law, but the law for sure is going to come. And this will really take a toll on certain people. Muino oluyombo lwammwe lwa ku muzigo, and then you include children, definitely, you'll not seek redress from anyone. I want to be as elaborate as possible. So, these are the other things that I want you to look at. Have you realized that whosoever trades insult here and to other people belong to a certain group of people? Go around and look at their profiles. That's why they are yapping so much, because they know they have been performing criminality without being apprehended. I'm very sorry to inform you that this is going to be serious. Women, if you have a problem with your maybe co-wife, do not post, ridicule, or insult the children of your co-wife. Do not post them. Do not post any video insulting them. You'll be committing an offense. So do not say that I did not warn you, because this law is going to work and it's real. Someone was telling me Facebook is illegal. I told him he must be mad. There is no social media platform that was declared illegal in Uganda. Not at all. Anything to be declared illegal in this country must be done through the laws of this country. And the laws prescribe as such. Therefore, the issue about Facebook in Uganda is that it is gagged at the moment. Therefore, it takes you a longer channel to access it. But it's there, you can use it if you have VPN. That is why you hear some of them panicking, their leaders panicking, their proxies panicking, because most of these people are high on consumption of drugs and marijuana, and when they are high on these drugs, they end up committing these offenses knowingly or unknowingly. And I can tell you the next amendment is coming on drug abuse, and it's coming very soon, and I will tell you that no leader who shall be tested and doesn't pass a drug test will qualify to lead this country. We shall also moot that, and we see who opposes it. So for a leader to lead people, they must have integrity. The other amendment, hate speech. Hate speech. Hate speech. Hate speech. A person shall not write, utter, send or share information on a computer which is likely to ridicule, degrade, raise discontent, or demean another person, a tribe, ethnicity, religion, or gender or group. I repeat, a person shall not publish, write, send, share, or even broadcast or make utterances that ridicule, degrade, raise discontent, and demean another person, tribe, ethnicity, religion, or gender, or group of persons. What do I mean in this? No single person shall have the right, in exercising their freedom of speech, to insult or ridicule or degrade any tribe in Uganda. That is one. Two, to insult, degrade, or ridicule any religion in this country, any gender or group. And this extends to even comedians. Comedians have been having a tendency of coming up with the comedy where one says such and such a tribe are thieves, such and such a tribe are prostitutes, such and such a tribe are imbeciles, they are not quick thinkers, trying to degrade. So for my friends, comedians of that nature, we will not consider what you did in the past. The law will only require you to pull it down. And the moment you pull it down, you'll be exonerated. But the moment you continue sharing it, then it will be very bad. I can tell you. So you have no right to do what we call stereotyping. When the people were fighting racism and apartheid, those that were practicing it thought it was very normal. They would not care. They thought it was a joke. They thought it was there for everyone to play around with until the laws were strengthened. Before people would go to Europe and other countries, yes, there's still some bit of racism, but it's not as much as it was before because of legislation. So this legislation is partly meant to cure all that. Now, a person who contravenes or is convicted of the offenses above shall pay the same, like I told you, a sum of money not exceeding 300 million. And those are, I think, 750, and it can be less. currency points. Each currency point has 20,000 or both, and imprisonment not exceeding 7 years. Then unsolicited information. There's a tendency of people putting people in WhatsApp groups without their own will. If someone makes you join a WhatsApp group without your will, exit. If they do it repeatedly, they are harassing you. And any person who does that will be supplying unsolicited information to a person who has declined to take it. And they commit an offense of cyber harassment and cyber stalking. The imprisonment, in that case, with proof, does not exceed, I think, 7 years. And the fine payable is as such the same. Because if you send an advancement and someone says, no, I don't want to be there, why should you keep adding me on the group when I've rejected it? And I want to warn you, because people take this for a joke. One, someone can put you on a platform, a WhatsApp group, and they are planning treason, or they are doing terrorism. You exit, they put you there. On our phones, we normally have very many WhatsApp groups. You ignore. They go and commit a crime, and then after forensics in technology are done, you're discovered to be part of the group. You're raided and apprehended and arrested for having been part of the chain that committed an offense. Yes, you might be exonerated later, but you'll have been part of the chain. Now, in offenses like treason and terrorism, you can easily end up in prison for having been on a WhatsApp group with criminals who got your number and put you on a WhatsApp group. Therefore, every morning, make sure you try as much as possible to check and exit. Block the admin. Where you don't feel comfortable, report them. You might laugh now. Nafunye abavubuka babiri abali e Masaka abankubidde ne banga honorable webale. Kubanga kino ekintu kya makulu. Waliwo abavubuka abagenda ne babba emmotoka. Naye nga baabateeka ku WhatsApp group yaabwe. Bwe bazza okukwata bonna 18 baabakutte. Ababbi b'emmotoka nga bagamba tubadde mu kikoosi nga tukola na bano. Naye nga kuli babadde banyumizaako byabwe. Kakati bano bwe baakutte, bwe bababuuziza nga bano ebivubuka ebikuba abaana pavers ebwayize, ne kigamba nti tulina n'omukutu gwa WhatsApp kwe tuli ffenna, ne babayoola bonna. Kakati basajja battu bali mu screening, bwe beekaana, naye oli agamba nti tubadde n'omukutu gwa WhatsApp kwe tukola ki? Kwe tuli ogutugatta. Please, forewarned is forearmed. Abazungu balina saying aga nti a stitch in time saves 9. Those who want to learn and understand, please you learn. Those who think are very bright, well, this will catch up with you. That is why no one, Mugende Mbazungu, gives you their number. If you ask for their contact, they give you their email. Be careful. Forewarned is forearmed. Don't say I didn't tell you. Spreading of malicious information and false utterances. Misleading malicious information. There are very many people who target people's businesses. For example, you start a business, and if they feel you're their rival, they come up with malicious information. This happens in all forms of trade, whether politics or business, or even in churches and mosques. Now, this one will not be tolerated. You do it at your own cost. Nchibagambye, and that is computer misuse. You see, when I was telling people that we are going to have an advancement in technology, we are preparing. That is why we've started a program where we are going to teach. This is one of the integral parts of the training in the computer courses that we have. Teaching the people what we call computer ethics. So that we grow a generation that knows what is done on a computer and what cannot be done. Of course, there was a problem of the upbringing of some of the people. We cannot blame them. But now, this one, we will lay our hands on it seriously. And it won't happen. Therefore, if you publish anything misleading, malicious, and false, you commit an offense. Assuming you wake up in the morning, like someone said, and had a voice note saying, Haruna Mubirwa Fudde. And some of these people collapsed. Others were mentally stressed and mentally tortured. That person must pay. That person must pay. It is only here in Uganda where you've been going away with it. It is impossible. I would like to thank all the ambassadors that have contacted me on this matter and are happy with this because all countries have shown concern. And like I've told them, I'm very firm on this matter. And we are saying we are protecting the freedom of speech, but not the freedom of people to abuse the quiet of others. Mujja kuba bulungi. Next, false identity. Every person who uses a fake account to use false identity to transmit information, whether right or wrong, you're doing that by false pretense, and that is fraud. And for sure, any person who commits this offense, when discovered, the offense committed shall have you serve 15 years in prison. That's the maximum. Then payment of that fine not exceeding 300 million, either of the two or both. So those that have been hiding in fake identities, using people's images, because some guy told me he was nearly beaten when people asked him for something he did not do. He told them, I'm not on Facebook. And they told him, your image, sigweka yuwa bobu ntiye, gwe sebo, goba dotu vumo jachisa sulira. Nengo liya kozesa bukozesa kifaananyi kye, n'avuma abantu bakwata mwono. Mulimu abantu ababadde bakola ebikolobero nga bakola mu writings n'akozesa ekifaananyi kya muntu mulala n'abeera ng'ayogera ebintu ebimenya amateeka oba n'abiwandiika ne bakwatamu omuntu omulala. There are some people that are rotting in prison based on false identity. Therefore, any person who does this commits an offense. Era mubalaba batandise dokaba babuukabuuka kakati walese n'ekya fake account fe bagenda tukwata. Lwaki obeera mu fake account? Be confident enough to use your identity and speak what you want to speak. Hiding of identity is a big show that you're not confident. You're actually someone who is doing a falsehood. You're actually a criminal. Why do you hide your identity? If you want to dissent, dissent. Therefore, at least now the tools are readily available in technology that can lift the veil, unmask the IP, unmask the location, unmask what we call the trend through the forensic to show the actual bearer of the identity of the accounts that are used to troll, harass people, and even do child molestation. Any person convicted in this offense shall pay heavily. And I guess they are enjoying, they are there enjoying. So their bosses, waliwo muyadaka nanti honorable kale batusiba naye mwe temutuyamba babasiba ani yali yabatuma. Who had sent you? Who had sent you? If you're using a fake identity, definitely. Now, we also have another avenue. This law is transboundary. If you think you will commit these offenses when you're out of this country and you think you will not be apprehended, this one we've discussed with various authorities in other countries, it's actually apprehendable. Just like money laundering and terrorism, it is transboundary and it's apprehendable. So, Katongole Julius, your time is coming. Don't worry, my son. For you have enough cases, young man. I don't want to. I won't block you. You have enough cases. At least some of your relatives have reached out to me to forgive you. I don't have a problem with that young man, Julius Katongole. He's just trying to find a living, but he has some huge cases in Rubaga. I think they are trying to sort out. I forgive him, the young man. But what am I saying? Any person who is convicted of offenses under this law shall not be eligible to hold public office. Any person convicted under this law shall not be eligible to hold public office. First of all, I would like to thank our people who understand what I'm trying to say. Therefore, a person convicted under this act shall not hold public office until 10 years expire, for a period of 10 years. So, equally, if you're a public officer or a member of parliament or working in the civil service, whatsoever it may be, and you're caught up by this law, you'll lose your office. You'll be interdicted and you'll lose your office. Of course, you'll be given a fair hearing, but if you're convicted under this law, you'll lose this office. So, this is the law as it is. Therefore, I'm happy that my friends in Kenya are also very glad they are borrowing the law. My colleagues in Tanzania are doing the same. There are some MPs from Poland who have called me, some we started with in the University of Kent. In UK, they are very happy about this law, and they also think it must be enforced in their countries. And people are very much encouraged by people who use what we call false identity. Be yourself and speak your mind. I've been informed that in certain countries, I'm still finding out about this, where people do cyber harassment, mainly those trying to seek asylum. When you move against them in courts, most can either be deported or others, asylum might be declined on such grounds that they are abusing the laws of their hosts. Then too, For those who are convicted and still hold the nationality of Ugandan, of course, Ugandan authorities and courts can cancel their travel documents if they are working abroad, and immediately your travel document is cancelled. Definitely, the host nation has nothing to do, but also, consequently, cancel your work permit and have you deported to face your crimes. So, there's one friend of mine who said he's in UAE and he says he's very far. I think you're a big joker. My friend, you're a big joker. UAE is very near. And if you think you will commit those offenses, first of all, with the illegality of what you use, but you're deportable. But in this law, people will be protected. And I can tell you, you'll face the wrath of the law. It can take long, and I'm telling people, but of course, when this law is signed and it starts to bite, yeah, I believe there will be sanity on social media. And I tell people, it is normal to disagree. It is normal for us to belong to different parties and religions, or even come from different tribes. It is not right that you harass another person. It is impossible. Because then that leads to retribution, family attacks, revenge, and avenge. And that's where the laws must come in to mitigate this. Therefore, I can say with authority that, inshallah, God willing, in the next 3 months, this law will be ready. And after being ready, yeah, there is someone who made utterances about the late Sheikh Anas Kalisa. Such people, and if you listen to the utterances made about the late, it leaves a lot to desire. So you don't have to worry. These ones tuja bagema with their boss. And I can tell you, they and their boss, if they don't change, that is where I told people brain power is the best weapon that we have. Use your brains, use them very well. We can disagree without being malicious, without producing fake news, without insulting other people's families, without doing all that. So you will see them. I would like to tell you, look at all those that use insults, abuses. They belong to one cluster, and they resemble exactly their leadership, because that is what it tells them. But these we shall manage. These we shall manage. That is why you hear they are all shouting, whoa, 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 jumping up and down, whoa, whoa. Sebo, ate, binonga to biogerako, but have been talking about vendors when their leaders are quiet. We've been advocating the cause of workers on NSSF when their leaders are quiet. Improvement of the budget of running the city when their leaders are quiet. And now they say, but also you speak for us everything. Now, where are those you elected to also speak for you, if it's me to speak for you everything? So if you think the law I've brought is not sufficient, we can interface. But if you think the law I've brought, actually, no. I wanted to tell you, do you look at their profile pictures and the person they carry? That is the person they represent, and those are the views they represent. So I would like to tell you that we shall put them where they belong. And where they belong is the places where criminals belong. and you know where criminals belong. So this law is here to strengthen the Computer Misuse Amendment Bill, and for sure, I can tell you, with Allah our witness, with God with us, it will come. It will be exercised, and we shall have sanity, for sure. Someone was telling me, what of those ones out? Those ones out will attach their property. You go on jail, you work, and you think you hold the right to insult people. If you're convicted of this offense, someone will be paid, you'll be fined in absentia, and when you're fined in absentia, we attach your property. The records are there with the land office. We are going to do it. The law is going to do it. You cannot get a travel document, but then we also attach your property. And I'll support this 100%. Someone says they want to say something. So I'll need some of you who want to make a contribution on this matter to make a civil contribution. You can make a civil contribution, but this one is finished. So you say invite me.